Shana Tova, everyone. We're here to begin Yom Kippur. We use the Mishkan HaNefesh that's available to everyone. Everything in this prayer book is available in Hebrew, transliterated English characters, and English translation. We'll be availing ourselves of all of it tonight, and the hope is that you can participate fully. Sometimes people say, well, wait a minute, I lost the page. Or wait a minute, I'm not interested in that prayer or that melody. This is a gold mine. There is so much in here. Let your mind wander. Let your fingers do the walking, as we used to say. Find readings, find footnotes, find information, find inspiration. But we'll always bring you back to where we are in the service. We're going to start on page 127 at the top. The theme of the entire season is called Returning, or Shuvah. And there's a beautiful rendering called Hashivenu. It's actually part of the end of the Torah service when we put the Torahs back. And we sing it in a three-part round. It goes like this. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai, Elecha, V'nashuva, V'nashuva. Try that with me. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, V'nashuva, V'nashuva, Chadesh, Chadesh, Yameinu Kekedem. I get to stand out here now. Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, V'nashuva, V'nashuva. Last time, Chadesh, 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 Yameinu Kekedem. Just you guys. Chadesh, Chadesh, Yameinu Kekedem. We're turning all the way back to the front of our book for the Seder Hadlakat HaNer, the order of lighting candles for the Yom Kippur holiday. If you look at page 9 in your book, I'm going to ask the beautiful, wonderful Barbara Gibson to come forward to lead us in those prayers for which we rise as we are able on page 9. Yeah. Together in the italics, the human spirit is the lamp of God, searching out what lies within us.
Guided by the flame of conscience,
on this sacred night we search for truth. Shine your light upon us as we strive to serve you. May we find safety in your faithful love. We light the flame of healing and forgiveness. On this atonement night, we give thanks for love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Yom HaKippurim. Source of blessing, eternal our God, you fill the universe with majestic might, teaching us holiness through sacred obligations, giving us the mitzvah of bringing light on Yom Kippur.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Since it's a happy occasion, turn to somebody next to you and say Shana Tova. Shana Tova. Find your seat. There you go. Many of us are fasting, but there are those of us who cannot. So please look on page 10 in the middle for a special prayer for those for whom medical reasons or other reasons are not able to fast. Rofei Chol Basar, healer of all living creatures, I thank you for the breath that is in me, for the community of Israel that lives, for the possibility of today and tomorrow. May my eating be as a fast, may be dedicated to you, to tshuva, to the renewal and restoration of my relationship to you, to others, and myself. We get ready for Kol Nidre on page 15. Please rise as you are able. We're going to go to the ark. Kol Nidre, a chant that begins with a whisper and rises to a cry. On this night of promises remembered, each soul in solitude communes with the soul of the universe. God, from this day of atonement to the next, may we reach it in peace. All Israel makes these vows: to turn from wrong, dishonesty, and greed, to walk in the path of justice and right. Yet we know our weakness, how prone we are to fail. Help us to keep our word. Help us to act with humility and integrity. We seek pardon and forgiveness. We seek your radiance and light. We continue with Or Zarua as the Torahs are placed in the arms of our leaders as witness for Kol Nidre.
Or Zarua Latzadik, Ol Yisrael Lev Simcha. 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 Or Zarua Latzadik, Ol Yisrael Lev Simcha.
B'shiva Shemala u'b'shiva Shemata al dat hamakom v'al dat hakahal anu matirin lehitpalel im avaryanim. With one voice, assembled sages past and present declare, all may pray as one on this night of repentance. Let none be excluded from our community of prayer. With one voice, God and congregation proclaim, all may pray as one on this day of return. Let all find a place in this sacred assembly.
Okay, I'm going to do it from there. Kol Nidre ve'asarei v'cha שביטין, בטלין ומבוטלין, לשרירין ולקיימים, נדרנה לנדרי, וסרה לאסרי, ושבותנה לשבות. Kol Nidre וסרי וחרמי וקונמי וכינויי וכינוסי ושבועות דין דרנה ודשתבנה ודיאחרימנה sarna alav shatana miyom kippurim ze ad yom kippurim בטלין ומבוטלין, לשרירין הקיימים,
Please read the English with me at the top of page 19. Let our speech be pure and our promises sincere. Let our spoken words, every vow and every oath, be honest and well-intentioned. Let our words cause no pain, bring no harm, never lead to shame, distrust, or fear. And if after honest effort we are unable to fulfill a promise, a vow, or an oath, may we be released from its obligation and forgiven for our failure. Let our speech be pure and our promises sincere. ונשלח לכל עדת בני ישראל, לגר הגר בתוכם, כי לכל העם בשגגה. All shall be forgiven, the entire community of Israel and the stranger who lives in their midst, for all have gone astray in error. We read together in the English where it says Moses. Moses prayed to God. Turn the page, we remain standing for the Baruch Hu, after which you will have a chance to sit down. Baruch Hu, the call to worship.
Page 23, the facing page. Steal into the prayer book like a stowaway, fasting without a bite. Travel for days till you reach the shore. Lie folded up in your hideout. Do not stir through the whole journey. And if with the right word you get into the proper place and light up the little prayer book with Jewish joy, that will be it. The little prayer book will have to carry you through all eternities, and they will daven you too. Will say you. Page 25. We join together. Day and night are yours, creative spirit of the universe. The muted colors of twilight, the radiance of dawn. Yours are the spreading wings of light, the deepening shadows of darkness, and ever-changing drama. In the human heart, too, the struggle between darkness and light unfolds. From sunlit heights of generosity, the human heart sinks to the gloomy depths of selfishness. Although we fall, you give us the strength to rise again. You call on those who hurt through word or deed to break free from wrongdoing and return to you. All who hear your call to goodness are embraced, and all who reject emptiness and find evil find. We come into your presence this night of Kol Nidre, aware that our shortcomings and weaknesses are many, yet encouraged by your promise of forgiveness. We choose freely the path of repentance, restoring wholeness to our lives and holiness to the world.
Umavir yom, umevir laila, umavdil ben yom, uben laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid imloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai
page 26.
After the prayer for the sun, the moon, and the stars, we always talk about the love that God gives us through Torah. It goes like this. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Havta Amcha Havta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shokbeinu V'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha V'nismach m'divrei Toratecha U'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed Ki hem chayenu Be'oret yameinu V'hem negei yomam v'layla Negei yomam v'layla Be'avatcha tasir Mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Ohev amo Yisrael. As we prepare to rise for the Shema, this is the one day of the year where the second line, Baruch Shem, is supposed to be said with full voice and full throat. So I invite you to rise as you are able and be ready for the Shema and the Baruch Shem.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad
Baruch Shem.
Page 30.
Avta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'lechtecha b'derech u'shachbecha u'v'kumecha u'shartam le'od ayadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam amzuzot beitecha u'visharecha.
On the facing page, together,
Listen, all you who wrestle with your fate. The intimate and the infinite are one. Trust that unity with your whole heart, doubt and all, with your whole soul, and with all the powers at your command. Remember it, repeat it everywhere, working or resting, sitting or walking, night and morning, alone and to all you love. See it written on your hand, on your brow, in every common place, and in every face.
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 39. Our sages taught it is proper to mention the exodus from Egypt in our morning prayers and also at night. We celebrate the going out from Egypt in the morning light, full of confidence and vigor as we enter the new day. But in the evening, weary from the day's exertions, Cast down and fearful at the coming of night, what can the Exodus teach us then? Our nighttime prayer brings hope and trust in the future. As God did not abandon our people long ago through the long, dark night of exile, so the Holy One will be with us in time to come. To stand by the one you love, that is the true essence of faithfulness, the meaning of emunah. So it is written in the Psalms, to proclaim your kindness in the morning and your faithfulness in the nights. Sing with joy in the mornings of your life when light surrounds you and the world seems beautiful and good. And in the evenings of your life when you dwell in sorrow and the world seems dark, do not despair. We sing a song of hope, page 40.
ברובנה גבורתו שיבחו בו לשמו ומלכותו ברצון גמלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם
We're in the middle of page 43. The peace of wild things. When despair for the world grows in me and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world and am free.
ושמור צאתנו אוהנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הבורא סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Amen. Page 45 at the top. For on this day atonement shall be made for you, please read with me, to purify you from all your wrongs, and pure you shall be in the presence
of Adonai.
rise as you are able for the Chatzi Kaddish before the Amidah.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה.
Amen.
ילמד יברח ירותי וימליך מלכותי. בחיי חון וביומי חון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל. בהגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו.
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם. וליעל יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה לעילא ולעילא מן כל מרחתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירה מעלמה ואמרו
Page 46, from Psalm 51. Have mercy on me, O God, as befits your faithfulness. In keeping with your abundant compassion, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly of my iniquity and purify me of my sin, for I recognize my transgressions and am ever conscious of my sin.
We pray that we might be able to pray. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. We want to open our mouths and pray. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Please turn the page.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanora El Elyon Komel Chasadim Tovim V'Kaneh HaKol V'Zocher Chasei Avot V'Imahot U'Mevii Geula Livnei B'neihem Leman Shemo B'Ahava Zochrenu Lechaim Melech Hafetz V'Chaim V'Chotvenu B'Sefer HaChaim Lemancha Elohim Chaim Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah
Amen.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מקלקל חיים בחסד, בחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדום מלך, מלך ישועה, מלחמוך הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו, לחיים ברחמים, לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
Page 53.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה.
Please be seated. We continue on page 55 and 54. You know how to create a heart of stone that you can lift. You know how to create a heart that will know how to get out of pits, that cast itself, that was sold. You know how to warm with your hand a heart frozen from too much. You know. Page 56, we join together. And so, in your holiness, give the righteous the gift of a vision bright with... We're celebrating the sun's sight, Aaron's gone from Page 58. V'timloch atah Adonai levadecha al kol ma'asecha. You and you alone, Adonai, will reign over creation upon Mount Zion, home of your presence, and in Jerusalem, a city set apart by you. As the psalmist believed, Adonai will reign eternally, your God Zion for all generations. Hallelujah. Kadosh atah v'nora shemecha, ve'en Eloah mibaladecha. You together, you are holy, your name is awe, divine beyond you. As the prophet Isaiah taught, the source of all might is exalted through justice, the God of holiness made holy through righteousness. Baruch atah Adonai, hamelech
HaKadosh.
Amen.
Page 60. Together, you chose us with love to be messengers of mitzvot, and through us you made known your aspirations. Among all the many peoples, you gave us a pathway to holiness. Among all the nations, you lifted us and made yourself our sovereign. And so we seek you and serve you and celebrate our nearness to your presence. Your great and sacred name has become our calling.
ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו
Page 62.
מאהבה את יום הכיפורים הזה למחילה ולסליחה ולכפרה ולמחול בו את כל עוונותינו מקרא קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים.
On the facing page, like smoke above the altar, may a memory of us ascend and come before you. As Israel once came to you with offerings from the flock, so we bring you the offerings of our mouth, not lip service, but heartfelt prayer. So the prophet taught, return, O Israel, to Adonai your God, for you have fallen because of your sin. Take words with you and return to Adonai. Together, accept these words we set before you, awkward and imperfect as they are, our hesitant questions, our corrosive doubts. Accept too our silences, our thoughts that rise in the stillness, our faith that coheres for a fragile instant, then dissipates like smoke above the altar.
אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו יעלה ויבוא ויגיע ויראה וירצה וישמע ויפקד ויזכר זיכרוננו ופיקדוננו וזיכרון אבותינו ואמותינו וזיכרון ירושלים עיר קודשך וזיכרון כל מלכה בית ישראל לפניך לפלטה לטובה לחן ולחסד ורחמים לחיים ולשלום ביום הכיפורים הזה. זכרנו אדוני אלוהינו בו לטובה
אמן.
ופוקדנו בו לברכה.
Amen.
ויושיענו בו לחיים.
Amen.
Eternal our God, remember us.
Amen.
Amen.
Be mindful of us.
Amen.
Amen.
And redeem us for a life of goodness and blessing.
Amen.
Amen. Wait a minute. Let's get an amen. There you go.
On the facing page, they said redemption would come only when no one's expecting it anymore. And one night they sat silent and awake at the thresholds of their stores and homes and didn't expect redemption. And when dawn rose, there were tears rolling down from all the rooftops.
אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו
66.
ואמותינו, מכל עוונותינו ביום הכיפורים הזה, מחבר פשעינו וחטאותינו, מנגד עיניך כאמור. אנוכי, אנוכי, ומוחה בשעניך למעני, וחטאותיך לא אזכור, ונאמר, מחיתי כף פשעיך, וחנן חטאותיך, שובה אלי כי גלתיך, ונאמר, כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לטהר אתכם, מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תטהרו.
On the facing page, page 67, we join together towards the bottom. Out of the depths I call you.
Hear me in this darkness as I cry for mercy. I long for your word. I wait for your forgiveness. You offer love. You free me from my sins. I yearn for your light, more eager for watchers of the morning.
Help me to know your peace.
אלוהינו
We
ואלוהי
join together on
אבותינו,
page 68. God who is ours and God of our fathers and mothers, lead us to holiness through your mitzvot, and may each of us find a portion of Torah that is ours. You bestow such goodness. Teach us to be satisfied and to know the joy of your salvation.
וטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת, כי אתה סלחן לישראל, ומחלן לשבטי ישורון בכל דור ודור, ומבלעדיך אין לנו מלך מוכר וסולח אלא אתה.
On the facing page, pure heart, clear mind, generous vision, gentle words, the courage to say yes, the strength to say no, steadiness in your work, purpose every day. I set you before me always. Mindful of you, may I never be shaken.
ברוך אתה אדוני, מלך מוכר וסולח לעוונותינו ולעוונות עמו בין ישראל, ומעביר את שמותינו בכל שנה ושנה. מלך על כל הארץ מקדש ישראל, מלך על כל הארץ מקדש ישראל, מלך על כל הארץ מקדש ישראל, ויום הכיפורים.
Page 72.
תפילתם באהבה
Of the 7 blessings of the Amidah for Yom Kippur, 3 offer praise. We offer them all the time. For our ancestors, for God's power and God's holiness. The whole middle section is about the day. And then we have these 3, Ritzeh, which was just so beautifully sung, Modim, which is a general catch-all Thanksgiving prayer. Whatever you want to give thanks for, nature, friends, family, whatever it is, it's all there. There's an incredible nature poet. Her name was Mary Oliver, and she wrote the beautiful words at the top of 75. And it'll be followed by what happens afterwards, the Va'al Kulam on the very next page, set beautifully by Meyer Finkelstein. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention, then patch a few words together. And don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks and a silence in which another voice may speak. Turn the page.
ועל כולם, ועל כולם, יתברך ויתרומם, יתברך ויתרומם, שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד. ועל כולם, ועל כולם, יתברך ויתרומם, יתברך ויתרומם, שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד. וכתוב לחיים טובים כה בני בריתך, וכל החיים יודו סלע, והללו את שמך באמת, העיר ישועתנו, עזרתנו, עזרתנו סלע, ועל כולם, ועל כולם, יתברך ויתרומם, יתברך ויתרומם, שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, הטוב שמך, ולך להודות.
Before the Shalom Rav is sung, let's read the meaning in the middle of page 78. And when we read, may it be a life of peace, the Cantor Berman will sing the beautiful Shalom Rav. But we'll read this together, the hope for all of us and all humankind. Peace, profound and lasting, all-embracing. Peace, let this be your gift to Israel, your people. In your goodness, author of peace, bless us and all people, every season, every hour, with the peace that is yours to give. Let us and the whole family of Israel be remembered and inscribed in the book of life. May it be a life of goodness, blessing, and prosperity.
May it be a life of peace.
Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha tasim leolam.
If you know it, join in.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon חיים, ברכה ושלום.
ברכה ושלום ופרנסה טובה.
ברכה ושלום, ייזכר וניכתב לפניך, אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל.
חיים טובים ושלום.
ברוך אתה אדוני, עושה השלום.
So with the Amidah completed, we have this pause. Usually we would say, read the prayers inscribed on your heart. Close your eyes and think of what you're thankful for. But we've had all this, and now we're ready to transition into the prayers that are unique for Yom Kippur. One of the feature prayers is called Ashamnu. It is an alphabetic acrostic from Aleph to Taf of everything that we have done wrong. When you pray the Ashamnu, please note that it's not in the first person singular. All of us responsible for each other. All of us responsible for the world in which we live. All of us could have done better. So take a moment. Breathe for about, 15 seconds. Actually, you should breathe longer than that. You should breathe the rest of your life. But breathe for about 15 seconds and just get ready for the transition into the prayers of confession, the prayers of forgiveness. And when you're ready, turn to page 82. Middle of the page. Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi. Ay, 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 Avinu v'hirshanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tifalnu shaker. Ay, 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 ay. Yatznu ra, kizavnu, latznu, maradnu, niatznu, sararnu, avinu, ashanu, sararnu, kishinu oref. Ay, 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 ay. Rashanu, shichatnu, tihavnu, tainu, titanu. We continue on 84 and we read together with the word our. Our turning away from your mitzvot and laws of goodness is a hollow pursuit. You are just concerning all that happens in our lives. Your way is the way of truth, while ours leads to error. What can we say to you whose existence is beyond time and space? What words of ours can reach your realm beyond the clouds, beyond heaven itself? Every hidden mystery, every revelation, surely you know them all. And we continue at the bottom.
You know the secrets of the universe and the secrets of the human heart. You know and understand for us, for you examine our inner lives. Nothing is concealed from you, nothing hidden from your sight. Eternal One, our God and God of our ancestors, we pray that this be your will. Forgive all our wrongs. Pardon us for every act of injustice. Help us atone for all our moral failures.
So you remember the Ashamnu, that was the plural that we all did together. Now we get specific. The Al-Chet is on 86. Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha bezadon v'shgaga, v'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha b'dibur peh. Together,
The ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake, and harm we have caused in your world through the words of our mouths.
Al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha be'imutz halev, ve'al-Chet shechatanu lefanecha b'tifshut peh.
The ways we have wronged you by hardening our hearts, and harm we have caused in your world through careless speech.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בכחש ובכזב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ברכילות.
The ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and the harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בפלילות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזלזול הורים ומורים.
The ways we have wronged you by judging others unfairly, and the harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents
and teachers.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בווידוי פה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהונאת רע.
The ways we have wronged you through insincere apologies, the harm we have caused in your world by mistreating a friend or neighbor. על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחוזק יד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך במשא ובמתן.
The ways we have wronged you.
The harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty and business.
סלח לנו מחלנו, כפר לנו. סלח לנו מחלנו,
Page 89, our failures of integrity. We join together. We wrong you when we wrong ourselves.
For our failures of integrity, Adonai, we seek forgiveness. For passing judgment without knowledge of the facts, and for distorting facts to suit our purposes. For succumbing in silence to social pressure, and for acquiescing in beliefs we find offensive. For using others' bad behavior to excuse our own, and for blaming others for our mistakes and poor decisions. For pretending to emotions we do not feel, and for appearing to be other than what we are. For condemning in our children the faults we tolerate in others,
and for tolerating in ourselves the faults we condemn in our parents.
We read responsively, we dishonor you when we dishonor our society. For our failures of justice, Adonai, we seek forgiveness.
For being indifferent to deprivation and hunger, while accepting a culture of self-indulgence and greed.
For abuse of power in boardrooms, courtrooms, and classrooms. And for accepting the neglect of children and elders, the ill and the weak.
For permitting social inequalities to prevail, and for lacking the vision to transcend our selfishness.
For glorifying violence and turning hastily to war. And for allowing history to repeat itself.
For behaviors that risk the future of our planet, and for wreaking havoc on our only true inheritance, God's creation.
Page 91, failures of love. We continue responsively. We sin against you when we hurt one another. For our failures of love, Adonai, we seek forgiveness.
For exploiting another for our own pleasure, and for the wounds we cause through betrayal and deception.
For withholding affection from those we claim to love, and for using love to control our spouses and partners, our children and parents.
For abandoning friends and siblings whose love has sustained us, and for neglecting those who love us when they need us most.
For harboring in our relationships mistrust, boredom, and disloyalty, and for rejecting our partner's efforts at repair and renewal.
For possessiveness, jealousy, and avarice,
and for lashing out in anger at those who are closest to us.
Who among us is blameless? Who shall say, I have not erred, I have not wronged or sinned? Together, we abuse, we brutalize, we covet, we deceive, we enslave, we feud, we gossip, we humiliate, we injure, we judge unfairly, we kill, we lie, we manipulate, we neglect, we ostracize, we plagiarize, we quarrel, we rage, we shame, we turn away, we undermine, we vilify, we waste, we exploit the earth, we yearn too much for yesterday and too easily forget Zion. Our sins are an alphabet of woe. Help us, O Holy One, to follow your ways of integrity, justice, and love. Teach us to seek forgiveness with humility and an open heart.
V'al kulam elo slichot selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu v'al kulam elo slichot selach lanu mechalanu selach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu.
On 93, there is a new formulation, because if you read what we just read for 4 pages, you'd think we are irredeemable, but we're not. I want to practice this phrase with you one time. Say, Al hatikun
Hatikun
shetikanu
shetikanu
lifanecha.
lifanecha.
We'll do this responsibly as well. God, our guide and creator, let us speak now of the healing acts by which we bring you into the world, the acts of repair that make you a living presence in our lives. Al hatikun shetikanu lifanecha. Together,
For the acts of healing we have done openly or anonymously, and for the act of repair we have done without personal gain.
Al hatikun shetikanu lifanecha. For the act of healing we have done by seeking forgiveness. For the act of repair we have done by forgiving others.
Al hatikun shetikanu lifanecha. For the act of healing we have done through righteous giving, and for the act of repair we have done by opening our hearts.
Al hatikun shetikanu lifanecha. For the act of healing we've done by comforting the mourner and visiting the sick. And for the act of repair we've done by pursuing justice and human rights, fairness and civility.
Al hatikun shetikanu lifanecha. Together, for the act of healing we have done by making peace between one person and another, and for the act of repair we have done by protecting nature and all its creatures.
Al hatikun shetikanu lifanecha. For the act of healing we've done by teaching our children the ways of peace. For the act of repair we've done by teaching our children the ways of Torah.
Al hatikun shetikanu lifanecha. For the act of healing we have done by honoring elders and loving the stranger, and for the act of repair we have done in response to your commandment, choose life and blessing.
Together, ve'al kulam, and all these bring nearer the day
when you
shall be one,
and your name shall be one.
We turn ahead to page 98 for Shema Kolenu.
Shema Kolenu Adonai Eloheinu Hu Sverachim Aleinu V'kabel berachamim uv'ratzon et tefilateinu Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva Chadesh yameinu kekedem Chadesh yameinu kekedem Amareinu hazinu Adonai bina hagigenu Yi'ul haratzon imreifinu ve'gion libenu lefanecha Adonai tureinu go'aleinu Al tashlichenu milefanecha Ve'ruach kadshecha al tikach mimenu Al tashlichenu litzikna kichlot kochenu al tazvenu Adonai Eloheinu al tirchak mimenu ki lecha Adonai ochalnu ata v'taneh Adonai Eloheinu.
Amen. Page 100. This before this, it's listed backwards. God of forgiveness, we come before you in need of compassion. At Sinai, you spoke words that guide our lives to this day, but our ancestors lost faith in you, lost hope in their Redeemer. Together, with one voice they have promised, we will do and obey. Yet stiff-necked, they broke their word, adoring an idol of gold. How wondrous your compassion in the face of their rebellion, your forgiveness in that moment of human weakness and doubt.
We too have broken promises to you.
Right.
We too worship the work of our own hands. We too make of gold a god, and we too forsake your word.
At Sinai, you revealed 13 attributes of mercy. These aspects of your nature, your very essence, we now recall.
Adonai, Adonai, Rachum v'chanun, Erech Apayim v'chesed emet, Notze chesed la'avim, Notze avon ha'fesha, v'chata v'nakeh.
Together, Adonai, Adonai, God,
compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving and true, showing mercy to the thousandth generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, granting pardon.
Look at the facing page, the first 4 lines of this beautiful medieval poem. As parents show tenderness to their children, may you show mercy to those who worship you. Like the heavens that tower above the earth, your love is powerful for those who revere you.
Kirachim av al banim, Recham Adonai al yereav, Ki higvo hashamayim al haaretz, Kavar chasto al yereav.
These prayers are about the tender relationship between us and a God that we cannot see, but we believe embraces us, especially in our time of need. Look at 104, and we'll read these words together. Our God and God of our fathers, God of our mothers, do not abandon us, leaving us in shame. Do not dissolve the covenant you made with us. Rather, draw us near to your teaching.
Show us your ways and teach us how to live. Let us be open to your love, ready to revere your very being. Cut away the hardness of our hearts, so that we may turn to you with all our heart's devotion, truly repentant. For the sake of your great name, pardon our failures, forgive our moral weakness, as in the worldly words of your psalmist. Adonai, as befits your name, forgive my sin, no matter how great.
So in 106, and by the way, rabbis and cantors get to have opinions. This one page is better than a 1,000-page book of theology, because it's all about relation, the relation of tenderness and the relation of rule, the relation of discipline, the relation of devotion. We sing it. If you know the tune, please join in.
Ki anu amecha ve'ata Avinu, anu amecha ve'ata Avinu, anu avadecha ve'ata Avinu, anu kehavecha ve'ata Avinu, anu nachlatecha ve'ata Gorolenu,
סגולתך
ואתה קרובנו.
אנו עמך ואתה מלכנו. אנו ממירך
ואתה ממירנו.
Our God and God of our ancestors responsively. We are your people.
And you are our God.
We are your children.
And you are our Father, our Mother.
We are the people who serve you.
And you call us to serve.
We are your community.
And you are our portion.
We're your legacy.
And you are our purpose.
We're your flock.
And you are our shepherd.
We're your vineyard.
And you watch over us.
We're your work.
And you are our maker.
We are your beloved.
And you are our lover.
We are your treasure.
And you are the one we cherish.
We are your people.
And you reign over us.
We offer you our words.
And you offer us yours.
Together,
So forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Page 109. A modern poem, not in the style of medieval poetry. The Bronx, 1942. When I told him to shut up, my father slammed on the brakes and left me like a parcel in the car on a strange street. To punish me, he said, for lack of respect, that what he always feared was lack of love. I now know just how long forgiveness can take, that it can be harder than respect or even love. My father stayed angry for a week, but I still remember the gritty color of the sky through that windshield and how, like a parcel, I started to come apart. We're going to continue now with Avinu Malkeinu. Please, as you are able, return to 114 and rise as you are able as we go before the open ark. No reading. Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu. Together.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice. Avinu Malkeinu chatanu lefanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed. Avinu Malkeinu olalenu v'tapenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our families. Avinu Malkeinu kala dever v'cherev v'ra'av me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu kala kol tsar u'mastin me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror. Avinu Malkeinu kotvenu b'sefer chayim tovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well. Avinu Malkeinu chadesh aleinu shana tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness. Avinu Malkeinu malei yadenu mibirchotecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessing. Avinu Malkeinu harem keren mishichecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, our eyes behold redemption. Avinu Malkeinu na al tashivenu rekam yofanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we pray. Avinu Malkeinu kabel barachim imoratzona tfilatenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it. Avinu Malkeinu, aseh imanu leman shmecha.
Avinu Malkeinu aseh. Avinu Malkeinu aseh lemancha im lo lemanenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours. Avinu Malkeinu, en lanu melech ela ata.
Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu patach sha'arei shamayim letfilatenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer. Avinu Malkeinu, shma kolenu, chus verachem aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu. Together, Avinu Malkeinu, chonenu v'yanenu ki ein banu ma'asim, aseh manu tzedakah v'chesed v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace, for our deeds are wanting. Save us through acts of justice and love.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu, ve'alol aleinu.
Malkeinu, Malkeinu, Shalenu, Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu, Shema Kolenu, Shema Kolenu.
Thank you. Going great.
It's hot in here.
One of the most enduring family stories in the Gibson saga is the time we finally took a vacation.
I'll fist bump you so I don't take this way.
My parents were not inclined to take 5 kids, 10 years and under, at once because all the things that you can imagine would happen, and of course they did. On top of that, my dad was a workaholic and not looking forward to taking time off from work at all. Maybe he saw himself as essential to his job, but Mom suspected that working provided him with several hours of sanity away from the madness that 5 kids showered on our mom on a daily basis. But memorably, we did take one. In 1961, we hired our favorite babysitter, jammed all 8 of us into the early Ford Country Squire wagon with the fake wood on the side, you remember those, and drove off to Cape Cod from New Jersey. What no one counted on was driving up in a hurricane. Hurricane Brenda slammed into the New York-Boston corridor with a fury. And after a harrowing drive, we finally made it to our little rented cabin and tried to figure out the essentials: who would sleep where, who would get first dibs on the bathroom, you know, all that. And the next day after the storm, my parents packed everyone into the station wagon for a fun outing. We needed a fun outing to the baby animal zoo. We were well away from the cabin when my mother, out of the blue, called out to my younger brother, "Mark, you're awfully quiet today. What's going on?" And she turned around and said, "Mark? Mark?" We'd left him back at the cottage. He was 5. It was the original Home Alone, decades before the movie. As I remember, my father pulled a U-turn in the middle of the road. We raced back to the cottage. When we got there, Mark was in the front stoop crying his eyes out. He was alone in Massachusetts, of all places, and it must have been terrifying. My mom scooped him up in her arms and tried to comfort him. We Sibs were just happy he was okay and went down off to play. And as I got older, though, I shuddered at the memory of how my brother Mark must have felt to be alone and abandoned. One of the most powerful aspects of Judaism is that as much as we care about each individual soul, we see ourselves as part of something larger, a family called the Jewish people. This peoplehood means that you, every one of you, is connected to all Jews living anywhere in the world. It also means that you are connected to every Jew that ever lived. Born or converted, it doesn't matter. Once you belong for the ages. Once you're a Jew all the way. From your first chicken soup to your last dying day. You get the picture. We don't want to leave you crying on the stoop like my brother Mark. At least that's what the Torah portion tomorrow is trying to teach us. Nitzavim atem kulchem hayom. All of you gathered here this day. And the Torah goes on to describe the choices that each of us must make between good and evil, blessing and curse, life and death. And then Moses declares on God's behalf, "I make this covenant not with you alone, but with those who are standing here this day, and with those who are not here with us this day." Huh? How could these words apply to those who are not even there? And the sages answer that this phrase doesn't apply to those who simply slept in. No, rather to future generations, to those not yet born, or to put it more simply, us. And the Midrash makes this specific. Rabbi Yitzchak taught, this includes all future souls to be created in the future that are not yet flesh and blood. We're all in this together, whether you've heard of the teaching or not. We Jews transcend time and distance. All Jews who ever were, are, or will be by birth or conversion are connected by mystic bonds we cannot fathom. We were together at Moses' farewell speech. We were together at Mount Sinai to receive Torah, and we're together this night at Kol Nidre, all of us. It is astonishing to realize that Judaism asks us to care about those in the group we've never met, never will know, and whose beliefs about God and Torah may well contradict our own. Our fates are intertwined beyond any rational argument. And already I sense among you some grumbling. What about me? What if I don't want to be part of the group? I just want to be by myself, go my own way, take my own spiritual journey. And the conflict is real. Peoplehood is an ancient demand from the Torah. By contrast, the problems and challenges we face are modern, involving brand new ways of thinking and unimaginable technologies. And most Jews in our day choose the new over tradition. But consider this. Precisely because our immersion in technology and social media, we are increasingly isolated from each other. We live much of our lives on screens in only 2 dimensions. And we can shut another person out by tapping a button. We are less likely to encounter each other as we actually are, in voice or in person. I'm told that calling somebody on the phone, if you're younger, is incredibly rude. Why didn't you text first? Being online, though, allows us to offer sharply edited versions of ourselves, not who we really are. And there are consequences to this, as we all know. Despite social media, many are lonelier than they've ever been. Despite too many online contacts to count, many feel alienated, isolated, cut off. This loneliness is not natural or harmless. It attacks our sense of well-being and our physical health. Medical literature claims now that loneliness is as much a mortal threat to us as obesity. Journalist Judith Shulevitz writes, emotional isolation is ranked as high a risk factor for mortality as smoking and even cancer, which can metastasize faster in lonely people. And freelance reporter Elle Hardy wrote, divorce, technology, and erosion of communities have left people increasingly alienated. The curse of isolation, however, is nowhere felt more keenly than in the U.S. And she's not writing about poor white people in Washington County or West Virginia. She's talking about us. As connection and community erode, we suffer. Despite our Torah's call to stand together this day, our community is breaking apart, resulting in an incalculable damage. And it's our job here at the Beit Knesset, the house of getting together, you translate it, to remedy this kind of loneliness. But to be honest, we fulfill this need far too rarely for far too few. It's not for lack of trying. I wish I could say we were succeeding, but often, and too often, we don't. Rabbi Larry Friedman, who worked here for more than a decade, wrote recently to a group of rabbis that attendance at Shabbat evening services in his synagogue has collapsed, especially among families with children, despite inducements ranging from good family programming to really great sushi. He wondered if anybody else experienced this, and he was flooded with responses from more than 100 colleagues. They wrote that many of their congregants say services are inconvenient. They interfere with sports, or people were just too tired to come out on Shabbat evening. And since most Reform Jews don't go to services Shabbat morning, and my colleagues were left to wonder if the synagogue has a future. And I wonder, is this Temple Sinai's fate to suffer slow decline into irrelevance? Maybe our services are so meaningless and boring that people don't come, but you know our services are a far cry from what they were 30 years ago. How many of you are here from the Rabbi Ilson years? Raise your hand. Because you come up to me at Oneg and you say, Rabbi Ilson wouldn't recognize this service and he wouldn't like it, which is okay in my book. Visual tefillah, music, and accessible teaching abound. And although I'm not fetching to you about coming to services, I think you'd feel good if you came more often. I rarely meet people who come here for Friday night services who say, boy, that was a waste of time. But frankly, I'm more interested in the problem than assigning blame. But what we experience here and throughout our movement is part of a national trend throughout religious life. More and more people are turning away from all organized religion. They are famously called the nuns, N-O-N-E-S. They now represent more than 23% of Americans and a much higher percentage of younger adults. Some choose secular passions like sports or concerts, and others seek individualized experiences, exploring God in the Laurel Highlands, arranging for private bar and bat mitzvahs, picking apples instead of coming here for Rosh Hashanah. Now, it goes without saying that you are all free to come here, go there, to claim a place in our community and faith, free to speak spiritual meaning on your own terms. But listen to journalist Stephen Asma. He wrote this in the secular LA Times 3 months ago. He wrote, "The nuns tend to believe in the soul, divine energy, mystical realities, ghosts, fate, and a myriad other superstitions. They also tend to set aside formal social gatherings and regular group activities." He writes, young nuns, in other words, are adopting one of the least helpful aspects of organized religion, magical thinking, while abandoning one of the most beneficial, social bonding. By contrast, he writes, communal prayer, storytelling, singing, celebration, rite of passage ceremonies, even fasting, these group activities create deep bonds, and they are the very point of religion. And he finishes writing, online spirituality apps promise to supercharge your mindfulness and positive thinking, but app spirituality too leads to a solitary practice. And I would add, loneliness. Always back to the loneliness. For going on 31 years, I've looked you in the eye, opened my heart, and said repeatedly, you matter. You matter to others. You matter to friends. You matter to family. You matter to this sacred community. You matter to Rabbi Gorban, Cantor Berman, and Drew Barkley, and Judy Mahan, and you matter to me more than you will ever know. Not for your financial support, not for your extra donations, appreciated, of course, but those are not the reasons for my caring about you. It's nothing you do, it's who you are. A soul with infinite worth. Fred Rogers spent his life teaching us that. And by being part of this community, you give all of us something of your unique worth. You are a gift of God. Each of you, every one of you. You may choose not to believe me, and some of you will certainly disappear after Yom Kippur for another year. But please, please, please listen to me for this moment while I have your attention. The way to fight off the loneliness and alienation that's killing us is to be together more, not less. I know an individual experience on the Rocky Mountain peak is powerful, but its half-life is brief and it's limited by memory. Remembering that experience might not sustain you when things are not so beautiful, like when you're ill or you feel impossibly alone. More than anything, I want those of you who are lonely to come home, here, to consider this a home for you, to be with others, touch others' lives, do good with and for each other in our world. That's what a spiritual home is supposed to be. How might we make Temple Sinai more of a home? I have a few ideas, as you might imagine. I'll share 6 of them with you briefly tonight on Kol Nidre. You tell me your ideas too. Write them to the website address that is on the screen. Yes, we've entered the 21st century. At my house, we grow vegetables, or at least Barbara does. It makes our home homey. The time has come to plant a community garden here. A community garden would bring us together to put our hands on the soil and grow veggies for our food events. But more importantly, it would give us a chance to grow food for the Squirrel Hill Food Pantry run by our member, Matt Bolton. There is nothing like asking the earth to grow food with the prayers of our hands in the soil. Drew Barkley is drawing up plans for us to start this spring. Our wonderful food expert, Steffi Wright, is ready to help. Come home to your garden, the Temple Sinai garden, starting this spring, and grow food and sustain this world. 2, I learned music not only from early piano lessons, but from singing. We sang as a family every Shabbat meal over challah and sometimes around the piano. That's how I learned the Great American Songbook, as well as countless Jewish tunes. Singing together can lift us out of our despair. How? Because it can literally dissolve our self-consciousness. It relieves us of the burden of thinking about what we are doing and feeling at every moment. This past spring, we held our first folk Shabbat. Most of the seats out here were filled to the sound of everyone singing "Raise the Roof." People were radiant when they left the room that Shabbat. We can and should do this more. Cantor Berman and I are always scouting for new voices for the choir, aren't we? Wherever she is. But this is different. Come and sing. Sing with people you know and with those who are waiting to meet you. Sing to feel warm and accepted. And I'm so thankful to Ben Wecht, you can see him up there in the white shirt, and John Schiller, who's next to him, for helping to organize that folk Shabbat. Now it's time for monthly informal singing here in our home. Let us know if you want to participate. Home is where you hear stories of our family, the ones who came before us, the ones whose legacies we share and bear. We should be hearing more of each other's stories. Grandparents sharing what they've learned through hard experience. Those who have struggled through disease, heartache, and crisis should be telling their stories for our sake as well as theirs. Sharing stories is not for AA alone. If you have not taken part in synagogue life, maybe it's time for us to hear your story. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll have our own version of moth storytelling, if you've ever heard of the moth. During a special Bet Midrash, your fellow congregants will share stories of their journeys without notes, without fear, and without judgment. Come tomorrow afternoon and check it out if you're not already committed to another learning session. Look for notice of our own regular story sharing here at Sinai. 4, at the risk of getting all Ashkenazi Eastern European ethnic, home is where you get a bowl of warm, healing Jewish penicillin. You know, chicken soup. How many of you have ever made chicken soup from scratch with a whole chicken? Okay, great, but it's too few. How many of you have ever made challah with your own yeast dough that you made from scratch? Great, but too few. I think we should not only learn to make it and keep some in our caring fridge at all times, I think you should be able to walk into the building this winter and get a cup of it, with or without knedlach, you know, matzah balls. It may not cure the common cold, but it sure makes you feel better, from inhaling the steam to downing the broth. You will have to decide for yourself if you like your matzah balls sinkers or floaters. We have master chefs here like Paula Rulin, Annie Wiedemann, and Leon Edelsack, who will help us learn the sacred art of soup. Maybe that's waiting to be your talent too. And not just soup. Every one of us should be able to come here on a Friday and pick up a fresh challah for Shabbat. We just have to make them. We can if you help us out. 5, what if you can't get out of your apartment? You don't have to be lonely. This is Arlene Smith. She runs our Seniors Calling Seniors program. You deserve to hear a friendly voice asking about you and how you're doing once a week. Just call the office and we'll put you on the list. You are part of this family. We care about you, even if you only ever participate by watching a service online. If you don't need a call, maybe you can make a call to someone else who does. Let us know and we'll place you at one end of the phone or the other. And 6, if you are a young adult and looking for your own group here at home, your home, talk with Rabbi Gorbin. She holds a monthly after-hours gathering for young adults every third Shabbat with wine and cheese and talk. Often they stay till 10:30 at night. She also loves the outdoors, as you can see. She is more than willing to take you on a mountaintop spiritual experience. Imagine affirming who you are as a Jewish woman or man by saying the Shema with the sun on your face and the wind in your hair, with others just as exhilarated as you, not just by yourself. These new ventures are not simply to add to a busy Temple Sinai schedule. They are intended to remind us that we belong together, to band together against loneliness, anger, and despair, which lead to depression, addiction, and suicide. The world we face can be terrifying, from our hateful politics to a more difficult financial landscape. This home is not an escape, rather a refuge. It is not a hideaway, rather a place to gather our strength to go back into a world that desperately needs our hope and our hands, our faith and idealism. It is here where we struggle with God and Torah and do sacred prophetic work. This home right here is where you can come and be accepted and at the same time be challenged to grow and be the soul that you've always had the capacity to be, to live the life you wanted to live, whatever challenges you face. And the cost of admission, your desire. You can bring along your heart and your mind for free. Your troubles are welcome here. especially if you're looking to lay them down. Your loneliness has a place here if you want to kiss it goodbye. You don't have to be alienated or isolated unless you want to be. This should be a home for you, your Jewish home. One of my favorite singers, my whole life since a teen, is a country songwriter named John Prine. Despite an illustrious career, I lost track of him until recently. He's 71 now, and he just put out a new album called The Tree of Forgiveness. It is reflective, ruminating on life in general and the end of life in particular. I love his song called Summer's End. He sings sadly about things passing until he hits the chorus, which is simple. Come on home. Come on home. You don't have to be alone. Come on home. Doesn't matter where you've been. Doesn't matter if you've had hard times. Doesn't matter if you haven't been back in a while. Just come on home. You don't have to be alone. Come on home not because of guilt, because your well-being may just depend on it. And chances are you'll feel good. When my brother Mark was left behind, he suffered terribly for an hour or so. But there are so many of us, too many of us, some of us here tonight, who suffer in silence for months and years. They suffer in heart and mind and body. They feel alone, so alone. And they hide it with a smile in public. But God, they feel so alone. And it doesn't have to be that way. You belong here. It's where you belong. It's where you get your tears dried this night, tomorrow, and in days to come. One last thing about home. Every Shabbat growing up, I blessed my children as part of our Shabbat meal. Home is where my children know they will be blessed. Tonight on Shabbat Shabbaton, the Sabbath of Sabbaths, here in your home, I believe that you are deserving of blessing as well. As the Torah says, Atem netzavim kulchem hayom, all of you standing here this day, will you allow me, a perfectly imperfect vessel, to ask you to rise, and you, as if you were children from your own parents, hear words of blessing from me. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Yadonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God cause God's light to shine on you and in you and be gracious to you. May God lift up God's presence to you and grant you joy, health, fulfillment, purpose, and the completeness we call shalom or peace. As together we say, Amen. Come on home. Come on home. You don't have to be alone. Come on home. I have the great honor of welcoming Michael Lippman, our dear member and member of the PSO, to play Kol Nidre for us with Ellen Keeney. We say more than Toda Rabbah. We say Yesher Koach, may your strength increase, and what a blessing you've given us. Thank you so much.
Well, I have the unenviable task of following that. I will tell you, if I'd known slides were an option, I might have brought some to help. I'm Philip Liam, and I have the privilege of following in the enormous footsteps of the 32 past presidents of this great congregation, Temple Sinai. Many of them are here with us this evening. This holiest of nights is about what we believe in. Last week, for example, we read about the binding of Isaac and about what Abraham himself believed in. I want to take you to a more recent time. The most memorable sermon I've ever heard, one I've shared with many friends, one entitled The Angel's Tears, was delivered from this bima on Rosh Hashanah 11 years ago. Our dear friend, Rabbi Jamie Gibson, articulated his personal belief system, one that moved and resonated profoundly for me. His sermon included a brief quote, included a belief, and I'm quoting, thank you, in goodness, spirit, purpose, and order, the indescribable connection of soul to soul, a means of connection between people. Thank you, Rabbi Gibson. Last year, I asked you all to think about why you're here. Tonight, I ask, what do you believe in? I ask not in the spiritual sense. That's between you and your God with the help of our clergy, but in a more secular sense. What do you really believe in? So to start, I'll give you a few things that I believe in. First, I believe in Judaism. But Judaism, especially how we connect to it, is changing. I invite you to read the 2017 Greater Pittsburgh Jewish Community Study organized by the Jewish Federation here with the Cohen Center and the Steinhardt Institute at Brandeis University. The study raises interesting questions about the future of the 50,000 Jewish adults and children in nearly 27,000 households in our region and what it actually means to be Jewish. I ask you to please help us think about this. I believe in Israel. To be sure, Israel has its challenges. I encourage you to deepen your understanding of the issues faced there, not only those that are in the news, but in everyday life. I believe in education. Of course, you know that because some of you know that my day job is at Carnegie Mellon, but as education changes and evolves, we are working to lead the way at Temple Sinai as well. Rabbi Gorbin's vision for our Next Door program has come to fruition, building deeper engagement among our children and who they are, who we are, and as they grow and develop as Jews. I believe in music and song as the soundtrack of our lives. Thanks to Cantor Berman and others, there's nearly always music wherever Temple Sinai is, from the rockin' folk Shabbat to Slichot with the Afro-Semitic experience, to a repeat national anthem performance with the Jewish community at a recent Pirates game. Temple Sinai truly sings. I believe in celebrating each other and our accomplishments. The outpouring of love for Rabbi Gibson, for Barbara Gibson and their family during the 30th anniversary celebration this year was a watershed moment for Temple Sinai. We also, though, recognize each other in smaller ways: our clergy, our staff, our volunteers, the work many of you do in the community to make the synagogue, the region, and the world a better place. I believe in valuing everyone, in community and inclusivity and diversity. Temple Sinai leads our community in areas such as Pride Shabbat and was recognized by the Union for Reform Judaism for our diversity work under the leadership of Mara Kaplan and others. I also had the privilege of spending an evening during Ramadan at the Islamic Center of Pittsburgh with Rabbis Gibson and Gorbin and many others from the Jewish community, as well as their executive director, our friend Wasi Mohammed. Reciprocally, Wasi led a group that shared Shabbat with us. And during our annual Latke versus Hamantashen debate, Wasi presented not the Islamic view, but actually a neuroscience case. I believe in continually deepening our understanding of our values, even as the circumstances and demographics surrounding those values change, even as people in our community inevitably come and go for various reasons. For example, we're filling a new position called Young Adult Engagement Director to engage with community members who have, well, let's say, just less gray hair than I. I believe in supporting the things I believe in. Our pledge program, in its second year in lieu of dues, has become a really successful model. Thank you all. And as our recent bat mitzvah, Dora Gordon, compellingly taught us during her devar for Shabbat Ki Tavo, our philanthropic support is vital. In fact, in a few years, I'm sure you'll hear again from Dora when I get her to join our development committee. I believe in connections. About a month ago, my wife Jill reestablished contact with a long-lost high school friend named Dina, who's originally from Rhode Island. Last week, Dina sent Jill a Facebook message. Again, I'm quoting. "I'm in southern Utah and decide I want to listen to a Rosh Hashanah service. I go on YouTube, type in Rosh Hashanah, and a synagogue in Pittsburgh comes up. I start to listen, and there's singing, and I'm mumbling, singing to myself the prayers I haven't sung in years, and then the rabbi invites Dr. Philip Lehman to light the candles. I stop dead in my tracks. I think," she says, "I may be having Rosh Hashanah with you in another quantum universe." As Rabbi Gibson put it, the indescribable connection of soul to soul. In short, I believe in Temple Sinai where we all, as the rabbi said, have a home. I believe in our connections and I believe in our future. I believe, as another of our sages, Paul Simon, sang in Pittsburgh last evening, that these are the days of miracle and wonder. Most of all, I believe in all of you. I want to thank you all for all you do for our community. I can't wait to see what we do next together in this place that we all believe in. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. Thank you, beautiful. We're going to bring Cantor Berman and Rabbi Gorbin back up here. Just a few things. There are some people already waiting for the 8:30 service. It's okay. We're not going to rush you. At the same time, we do want you to have some information. Some of you took the bags with the shopping list on it for the Squirrel Hill Food Pantry, and some of you have not. And there's a phrase I've used for 30 years here. We want the tables groaning. So please, if you would, they need diapers. They need tuna fish. There's a list there. You don't have to imagine what to buy. And this is why God invented Costco. God invented Costco so you get a lot of stuff that people need and donate it, so that we hope that you will do that. Tomorrow, we are starting at 8:30 in the morning. And there's one rule that came from Mount Sinai all the way to Temple Sinai, which is all times on Yom Kippur are approximate. You understand? We'll start at 8:30 and we'll see how things go. Second service at 11 o'clock. Afternoon service to follow. The afternoon service will be back there. We'll create sacred space back there. And then the Bet Midrash with all the amazing offerings of David Shribbin and Jared Cohen and Rhonda Rosen and Ram Kosowski and all these people, including Pat Kluss and Malky Frank and all these people, including Alan Olafson, who runs the Moth here in Pittsburgh. You'll have a chance to stay here all day and not have to worry about facing a peanut butter jar when you go home during the break, right? 4 o'clock, approximately, is I Am Jonah with the Attack Theater for the second year. It is an astonishing production using our people as readers, singers, and the amazing dancers and dramatic. If you didn't see it last year, they use this entire space, all 30 feet of it. It's incredible. How many of you were here last year and saw it? Oh, come and have a treat.
And you can bring your friends.
Bring your
It's open to
friends.
the
It's all open to
community.
the public. Yizkor is around 5. You know why I say it's around 5? Because all times on Yom Kippur are what? Approximate. Thank you. And then we go right into Ne'ilah. And we usually end about 7:15, but who knows? Because all times on Yom Kippur are approximate. There's also a Todd experience with Rabbi Gorban. When?
At 8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock. And there's a children's program at 8:30 in the morning during the time of the earlier morning service.
Right, it runs concurrently with the early morning service.
If any of you have blown shofar in the past but simply forgot your shofar, I have 2 more shofarot to loan you so you can come up here and stand up here with me for the Tekiyah Gedolah that will end Yom Kippur in less than 24 hours. So if you want to do that, please come to see me afterwards. You'll get a shofar. So we're coming to the last prayers. We're on page 116 for Aleinu. As you are able, please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשה כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו במשפחות האדמה, שלא עשה ככאלה, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
May the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn with trust in you in love. Corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness. When lies and bigotry shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. So may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your dominion be established on earth, and your word from power fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. This holy night concludes with memory. We're on 121. Our last thoughts always are of those we have lost. We miss them especially tonight, yearning for their presence at our side. The service we have shared once was theirs. They spoke and sang the ancient words. They prayed, repented, and yearned for better lives as we have done. Flawed in their deeds and perfect in their faith, they still draw strength from their tradition as we seek fortitude in ours. What was good and beautiful in their lives once gave us joy and now inspires us to reach higher. The knowledge that they loved us brings deep comfort to our hearts. And so we light candles of remembrance and gratitude. And we speak this timeless truth, Zichronam Livrecha. Their memory is a blessing, now and forever. We pray that their goodness will live on in our lives, planting seeds of kindness and hope for generations to come. On page 122, as you are able, we'll ask you to rise from Mourner's Kaddish. And since we all observe mourning for our relatives, I invite everyone to say Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
V'yomad yivrach hiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'izman kari v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mavarach le'olam olamei omayah. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran v'yoma v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shlam rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleina ve'el kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Ose shalom b'mramav. Huyase shalom aleina ve'el kol Yisrael v'kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru. Amen. May the source of peace in the high heavens cause peace to descend on all of us, all Israel, upon a broken world desperately in need of healing by our own hands, upon all of us who mourn our beloved dead, as together we say,
Amen.
Please remain standing. Our final song is on the facing page at the bottom, Those Who Sow in Tears. Those who sow, that's all it is, who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. It's that simple. Join in, sing along. Those who sow in tears, will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears, will reap in joy. Just you guys now. Those who sow in tears, will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. Shana Tova. Gemar Chatima Tova. May the final seal be for good.